Welcome back, and we're going to go over questions 19 and 20 now. These are from my book that you can get from Amazon or Barnes & Noble, the CompTIA Linux Plus Certification All-in-One Exam Guide. And we're going to go over these in detail, one by one. Let's hit question number 19 first. By the way, we hope you like what the content I'm putting up here, and ask that you subscribe and like the channel. The more attention it gets, then I know that people are interested, and I'll go ahead and put up some more questions. But question number 19 reads, consider the following entry from /etc/passwd file. It's got Al Greer :X: 1001 :100 Albert Greer /home /Al Greer :bin/bash. What user ID has been assigned to this user? So our choices are Al Greer, A, B 1001, C 100, D Albert Greer. And I'm going to go ahead and give the answer, so pause here if you want to figure it out on your own. The answer here would be B, 1001 is the user ID. Now, some of you may have chosen A because that appears to be a user ID, but that's actually a username. And then the 100 would be the group ID, and then D is that field is the comment field. In that field, in that fifth field, we're putting in information as to the user's real name, their phone number, their address could go in there as well. A lot of that's been taken over by using tools like LDAP, so you don't really put that information in the comment field anymore these days. Let's take a quick look at the man page for PSSWD. And that's going to show us which columns are where. Now, notice I ran man PASSWD, but I'm getting not what we're looking for. I'm getting the password command, not the password file format. So in order for us to get the proper man page, I'm going to press Q to quit from here. You do man space 5 PSSWD. And that's because configuration files are in section 5. All right. So now we're getting the right man page. And here it shows us the columns of the different fields. The first column is the login name, like I mentioned. Then the encrypted password, which could go in that second field, but now the encrypted password goes in the shadow file. For more information on the shadow file, watch the last video I put up on questions number 17 and 18. The user ID, the group ID, then the comment field, and then their home directory. So when the user logs in, that'll be the directory that they'll go to by default, instead of to / or somewhere else. And then which shell they're going to use. So most people use the bash shell as their command interpreter, but some people use the C shell, some people use the corn shell. But those are the 7 columns. Now let's take a look at number 20 and see how we do here. Consider the following entry from the /etc/shadow file. Okay, Morgan : blah 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 :15043 :1 :60 :7 :5 : period. That period is not part of, okay, that's part of the sentence. That period is not part of the entry in the shadow file. In how many days will this account be disabled after the user's password has expired? You've got A, 1 day, B, 7 days, C, 5 days, D, null value, never. All right, and so we're going to go ahead and give the answer. So if you want to pause, feel free. But otherwise, the answer here is C, 5 days, and that would be that column right here. Again, the best way for us to look at this would be to look at the man page for the shadow file. Let me bring that up here. Here, there is no shadow command as of yet anyway, so we can just do man space shadow on this one. That'll automatically get the one out of section 5, which are our configuration files again. The shadow file is the file where the passwords, where the hash passwords are contained. And if we go back to this here, this garble with this $, this would be the hashed password. So for example, the password for this user might simply be password, Password, but passwords are never saved on a Linux system. What's saved is an interpretation of the password, or what they call a hash. That way, if someone gets a hold of this file, they do not know the user's passwords. They just have their hashes. So eventually, with some tools, they could figure out that password, but hopefully by that time, the victim can make changes and repairs before the attacker can attack the system. So we've got the login name, you got the encrypted password, that's our password hash that we just spoke about, and the information on here. And again, with the man page, you can see how these are created. You can really get a lot of information from these and look at other man pages to get more details on how those hashes are created. But I'm not going to go through that here. Date of the last password change, minimum password age is the next column, maximum password age, password warning period, and then password inactivity period. So that's the one we're looking at. All right, the next column then is the account expiration date. And all these dates are expressed as the number of days since January 1st, 1970, since that's when Unix began, quote unquote. Let's take a quick peek at, just look at the tail of the password file. Just the last few lines. I'll say tail -4. And so here, for a user entry, we can have, let's say we've got the user called Debian-GDM. The user ID is 119, the group ID is 126. Here's the comment field, Gnome Display Manager. There's the login directory, and then the shell for this user is the false shell because that's a user that does not log in. And then for me, I've got a user ID of Ted, username of Ted. The X says the password will be in the shadow file, and then that hash password. Otherwise, if you don't have a shadow file, the hash would go right here. You'd see all that gobbledygook right in this column instead of the letter X. Don't put passwords here anymore though, because they're easier to steal. So the shadow file gets better protection. If I do a listing on the password file, you can see that it's readable by everybody. But if we do the same on the shadow file, it's readable only by the owner and the group, which is shadow. But anyone else cannot read it, so that's very important. And let's take a quick look at the, I got to become root to do this. Do I have sudo set up? Sudo tail. Nope. And we'll do a tail -4 on etc shadow. For this Debian user, like I said, the Debian user just does not have a log, doesn't log in. So we put a star here, not a login account. And then for my user, my password hash appears like this. And I can tell you my password is, it's just password. On my demo machines, it's always password. Only on demo machines, not a production system. And so, but came out to all this gobbledygook, and then here are the other parameters. And that's it for question number 19 and 20. Hope you learned a little bit of something there. And again, please subscribe and like to my channel, and we've got some more practice questions coming up here in the next few days.